And just moving on then next to Rainbow. I mean, you obviously had a number of your songs recorded by Ritchieblackmore and company and all became big hits. And we'll start with Since You've Been Gone. I mean, you first recorded that in 76. And as you said a couple of moments ago, it took a few years for someone else to do it. It became a big hit as well. But
Yeah.
how did that one come about? I mean, when did you first hear that Rainbow were going to take up that song?
Well, I heard, first of all, it was a hit in America by a band called Head East. They recorded it, much more like my version. My version was, I wanted it to be quieter and go into more power when it got to the chorus. But it was recorded by Head East. They recorded it, and it got to, for a heavy song, it did pretty well in America. It got to about 40, something like that. But they supported Rainbow on the tour of America.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's where, I don't know, I've not asked Ritchie, but I think that's probably where they heard it, I think, there. And they thought this would be good for us. And it was. You know.
Very good. Very good. And Sherry Curry had a version as well, which did well in America. And so in terms of the Rainbow version itself, I mean, when did you get to hear it? Did you get to hear it before it was released? And what was your thoughts on their version?
I don't remember hearing it before it was released. I remember hearing it on the radio and thinking it sounded really good, really strong. You know, Graham's got a very strong voice. And I knew somebody told me they'd been to Sweet Silence, a studio in Copenhagen, and put it down. And I was very impressed with the sound, very impressed with, the actual performance. With that Cozy Powell on the drums as well, it's really powerful.
Absolutely. And the legacy of that song is just incredible as well, isn't it? It's still being used in popular culture today. So how do you feel when you turn on the TV or go to the cinema or you just open something on your phone and there it is playing?
Well, I love the version that's in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's amazing, and you realize I'd listened to it. I thought, what are they doing with this song? You realize that the actual meter of the song, as it goes down in steps, it's half the time. The words stayed the same, but it goes down half the time as all previous recordings. It says down, 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 down. It goes down. I get the same old dream down, same time every night down. So it's got half as many chords, but it works so well, Well, songs, when they become popular, certain songs take on a life of their own, don't they? It becomes something new, something different. You don't think of it when you're, when you're writing and you don't know where it's going to go. It's interesting.
Yeah. And then along came I Surrender, and another big hit for Rainbow and another one of your songs. I mean, was that something that Ritchie reached out to you or Rainbow reached out to you, or was it just a coincidence?
I was just going into the studio, Paul. I was just doing songs going in there. I had a great deal with Island Music. I had a great deal because part of the contract, because I was getting success, they were allowing me to sort of get whatever I wanted. They would hire the studio for me to go and do 3 songs, and I would do 3 songs, and but I'd always go in with 3 songs, and I would say to them, I want a Marshall 200 head. I only need one cabinet, 4 speakers basically. Sometimes I needed a drum kit. Sometimes I needed all sorts of instruments, so I had a great deal with them and they paid for everything. So that was good. What was the question in the end?
It was more just how did Rainbow come to record that one? I mean, obviously, was it,
was it
written for them or was it organic or?
No, I had this. So that was one of the songs, and one of the 3 songs at that time that I had. I went into the studio and I thought I'd like to hear my friend John Verity sing it, and he sang the thing. I sort of arranged it with Bob. Bob played drums on it. Dave Winter played bass on it. I think John might have played guitar on it. I don't think if I played guitar on it, but I sort of set the thing up and John sang it really well. gave it to Ireland, and I think they must have sent it to Rainbow. Rainbow were looking for songs, because I know at the same time I'd written another song. It had a girl's name in it. This is what I was told. I didn't ask Ritchie this, but I would ask him if I saw him now. It had a girl's name, and he apparently said, I don't want to do a song with a girl's name in it. So I nearly had two there, but it was a very strong song. It was called Madeline.
Ah.
Like very French chords. Oh, Madeline, what am I going to do without your love? It was one of those kind of things, you know.
So did you have conversations with Ritchieblackmore about these songs at the time, before, after?
No, I spoke to Ritchie about 5 years ago when they came to the O2, 5 or 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. They came to the O2 to play. I mean, they sold out the O2. It was amazing. I got there and they were on stage just doing a sound, not doing a sound, well, you know, just arranging songs and things on the stage. I sat a long way down the auditorium, so they didn't know I was there anyway. And I just sat in the stalls listening to it, you know. I was with a friend who said to me, after about an hour of listening to the stuff, he said to me, he said, don't you think you ought to go and make yourself a scene? So I walked on the stage, you know, it's lovely. And I'd never knew Ritchie before that. No, everyone said, I can't believe that you did. Well, I knew of him before because he was in a band. He was in a band in the 60s that used to back Screaming Lord Sutch. He was also like a session player at Joe Meek's studio in London. And he also played in with Chas Hodges, Billy Kye, Bobby Graham in the Stormers. Well, the Stormers and the Outlaws asked me to be in their band before Ritchie. And I turned it down because I was in a band with all my friends, you know, my really good friends. But they wanted me to be in the band. And Ritchie ended up being the guitar player in the band. So I stood on the stage and we had a really good chat about things, but sort of superficial things, really, you know, nothing important. But, you know, a good chat. It was nice to speak to him.
Oh, so it's fascinating because obviously the likes of Since You've Been Gone and I Surrender are huge hits for the band commercially, the biggest they got here in the UK. So I always wondered if there was another link between the two of you and whether he ever tapped you up again in future and asked for anything else going forward.
Well, I did say to him before, he was waiting to go on the stage and I was chatting to him behind the stage, waiting to go through basically through the curtains to walk on the stage at the back. And he said to a guy that we were with, he said, I have to do this, go on the road now. The way to get these kind of audiences, what he meant was big audiences. The way to get big audiences, I have to go on the road and play and play for months and years really. Or you've got to get a song from this man. That was me, which was really nice. And so he said, if you can get a song from this man, and it's that kind of stuff. So when we were on our own again, and he said something, I said, well, do you want another song? Because now he's in a band called Blackmore's Night, which is like medieval, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, do you want another song then? And he went, okay. And I said, what, do you want rock or do you want medieval? And he said, he sort of had a smile and he went, medieval. So I never wrote it. I could write it. I could write it, but I didn't know how serious he was. I thought, I'm not going to write this if he wants to. Funnily enough, Ronnie Romero, his singer now, was there that night. And he's just been in touch with me last week and the week before. And he wants a song. He wants a song for his album. He's touring the world at the moment with his band. But so he would obviously. I'm looking forward to meeting him because he'll have stories about Ritchie and what they're doing now, what they're up to, whatever. But it's just nice to write, Paul. Really, it's just good. You know, they say you are what you repeatedly do. So if you stop doing it, you lose it, you know.
Indeed. And when you speak about writing for Ronnie, do you write for him or do you write with him in this occasion?
Well, he said to me, "I just like a song from you." He said, "But if you have time and I could come over and maybe write a song with you." And I said, "Yeah. You know, I've got other friends. I've got a friend here today that could write him a good song as well. Rowley Jones, very good writer. So I mean, he might end up writing with us as well because we're writing together."